Yana Kapatou is responsible for gathering together the ingredients before classes begin. The 20-year-old wants to become a chef and started attending this vocational school in Athens last year. But are restaurants really a secure place to work in times of crisis? The young Greek woman is taking a strategic approach.
Our food is a great asset for marketing our country. I mean, we have such great food that it's definitely a huge resource when it comes to dealing with tourists, when it comes to boosting our economy. It's something that Greece should promote because we have food. I mean, it's just up to us to promote it in the right way.
But first, the fruit and vegetables need to be peeled. All of this is quite an adjustment for Yana Kapatou. Before the euro crisis in 2010, she was at the exclusive American school in Athens. Then her family lost their money and Yana was forced to give up her high-flying plans of an international career. Nowadays, the beginnings of the euro crisis seem like a bad dream.
We were all worried. We didn't know what was going on. We couldn't understand because we were very young. And so we were very uncertain. I remember money was less. Definitely, like we could tell because we had more allowance and everything. A lot of kids started to go out and work. I did too. I mean, I got my first job when I was 15. And you know, such things didn't happen in Greece. You know, these phenomena were new.
Yana has got used to the new Greece. It's a poor country that has little in common with the land her parents grew up in.
I miss the fact that I didn't grow up in all this wealth and, you know, having a good time all the time. But in essence, I understand now that what they did was fake. It wasn't real. I mean, it was sort of like they lived a dream from which they woke up. And I think it's harder to get used to the things now if you lived back then. For me, it's easier because I grew up this way.
Home life has changed too. Yana lives with her mother now. Her parents got divorced. Yana Kapatou works for an embassy and is also a chef. She says it's a hard job, not one that she necessarily would want for Yana. At the same time, Xenia is also proud of her daughter.
Of course, my daughter doesn't have the same kind of opportunities that we had before the crisis. But is that really so awful? If Yana had things as easy as I did when I was 20, she and her generation might make exactly the same mistakes as we did back then.
She hopes that Yana's generation will be able to fundamentally change Greece for the better.
This generation is being forced to see the world more realistically. Maybe that's why they're prepared to take steps that my generation aren't courageous enough to take.
That includes not taking things at face value. In that spirit, Yana is doing a correspondence course in statistics at the University of Piraeus. The 20-year-old says that figures can tell you a lot, but also conceal things.
Whenever you have such a huge crisis in a country, your suicide rates go up. And in Greece so far, no one has ever mentioned suicide rates in Greece. And, you know, using the metro every day, we hear a lot of stories about, you know, the suicides that happen, but are, you know, no one talks about.
On her journey to school each day, Yana can see just how much her home city Athens is suffering from the ongoing crisis. There are no quick solutions for unemployment and economic decline. And yet this first-time voter hopes that Alexis Tsipras and the opposition movement Syriza will be able to change things for the better.
I don't think it's Tsipras just because it's Tsipras. I think it's because it's anyone new. You know, we want new people, younger people on the political scene. We want to see something different. It doesn't matter nowadays if it's left or if it's right, you know, ideologically. It's just different. We want something different.
Greece's future is also a frequent topic of conversation at school. Yana has to pay for her vocational training and wants to be sure that she's making the right investment.
It could take another 10 years before our labour market is back to normal. Young people aren't patient. They have their lives in front of them. I don't blame them for that.
Και δεν μπορούμε να τους κατηγορήσουμε και γι' αυτό.
Yana doesn't want to wait 10 years. In the evening, she works as a waitress in this cocktail bar to pay for her course. This young woman is certainly doing her bit for her own and for Greece's future.